Do you get that same pain in your lower back every few days, even after seeing a therapist or doing stretches? You're not imagining it. It's not just getting old, and it's not something that therapy alone can fix. Your back pain keeps coming back because the actual cause hasn't been addressed. Most people treat the pain, but very few treat the pattern that's causing it. Let's break it down. Your spine has 24 bones. In between them sit cushions called intervertebral discs. These act as shock absorbers, and around them are ligaments, nerves, and muscles holding the entire system upright. Every time you bend, stand, reach, or twist, these structures coordinate. When even one is out of sync, the rest start overcompensating, and that's where the pain begins. But here's the part nobody tells you. Even if your therapist gives you stretches, even if you feel temporary relief, even if your doctor says there's nothing wrong on the scan, your spine could still be under daily damning from simple habits you don't even realize. Let's start with posture. Most elders spend hours in chairs that are too soft, with cushions that collapse under pressure, causing the spine to cave and lean forward. That forward curve compresses the lower discs, especially L4 and L5, and flattens the natural lumbar curve. And when your spine loses its curve, the weight load shifts directly onto the lower vertebrae. That causes inflammation, that triggers nerve sensitivity, and that creates tension in the surrounding muscles. You may call it stiffness. You may say your back is locking up, but it's simply compensation. Your muscles are trying to protect a joint that's being repeatedly misused. Now let's talk about beds. If your mattress sags, if your hips sink lower than your ribs when lying down, if your spine isn't supported when sleeping on your side, then your spine alignment is being stressed for hours every night. That's over 30% of your day spent in joint pressure. No amount of therapy can undo that. Now we get to movement, or more often the lack of it. Most people think back pain comes from overuse, but in elders the bigger problem is underuse. You wake up, you sit, you eat, you sit again, you watch TV, you lie down, and in between all that, your spinal support muscles, called the multifidus and erector spinae, are being starved of movement. They become weak, they shrink, and when they're finally called to action, they're not ready. So your bigger muscles like the glutes and hamstrings take over. But they weren't designed for precision spinal control, so they tighten, trying to compensate. That's why you feel knots in your lower back. That's why your upper hips feel sore. That's why pain returns even after a massage or stretch. It wasn't a lack of release. It was a lack of proper reactivation. And now the next issue, breathing. Yes, if you're over 60 and your breathing is shallow, if your chest rises more than your belly when you inhale, if you hold your breath while standing or shifting, then your diaphragm is inactive. And when your diaphragm is weak, your lower spine lacks core pressure stability. That means every step you take, every time you lift something, every time you shift weight from one foot to the other, your spine is relying on surface muscles instead of internal core support. That's a massive problem, because these outer muscles fatigue fast. And when they do, your spine is left unguarded. That's how spasms form. That's how disc pressure increases. That's how pain keeps coming back. So what's the fix? Start by retraining your breathing. Sit or lie flat. Place one hand on chest, one on belly. Breathe in deeply through the nose. Your belly should rise, not your chest. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Do this 5 minutes every morning and evening. This activates your deep core stabilizers, giving your spine natural tension support from the inside out. Now let's address hydration. You may drink water, but if it's not consistent, your spinal discs are suffering. Discs are made of water-binding tissue. They rely on hydration to maintain height and cushion. When you're dehydrated even slightly, those discs shrink. And smaller discs mean tighter nerve space, more grinding, more stiffness. If you feel shorter by end of day, if you hear cracking in your spine, if your lower back gets worse with standing, that's likely disc compression from dehydration and inactivity. Drink water early in the day, not just in the evening. Add a pinch of salt and lemon if you feel your water passes too fast. And avoid caffeine overload. It drains minerals that help disc recovery. Now let's fix your walking. Many elders have a walking style that is slightly bent forward, hips tucked, shoulders rounded. That position removes the normal spinal spring and forces shock up the back. Fix it by lifting your chest slightly, allowing a natural sway in your hips, using shorter steps with heel to midfoot contact, letting your arms swing gently. This distributes force evenly across your body. It keeps pressure off the lumbar spine, and it allows the discs to decompress slightly with every step. You also need to stretch, but not aggressively. In fact, many elders make their back pain worse by stretching too hard. Your goal isn't to touch your toes. Your goal is to release tension in the hamstrings, hip flexors, and calves. Here's how. Stand, place heel on low stool, keep back straight, lean forward slightly, sit in a chair, cross ankle over opposite knee, press gently on the raised knee, lie on back, bring one knee toward chest, hold for 30 seconds. These give your pelvis more freedom, and the pelvis is your spine's foundation. If your pelvis is tilted too far forward or backward, your lumbar curve is ruined, and back pain becomes a cycle. Let's end with a major missing piece: mineral balance. Most seniors are deficient in magnesium. It's essential for muscle relaxation, nerve function, and tissue recovery. Without it, your back muscles stay clenched, even during sleep. You wake up sore, you stay tense all day, and you never truly release. You need 320–400 mg during magnesium daily, preferably from magnesium glycinate or malate. Also, vitamin D3 for calcium absorption, potassium to prevent cramps, omega-3s to reduce inflammation and nerve roots. These aren't extras, they're basic requirements for spinal recovery. And without them, you can try every therapy on earth and the pain will return again. Because back pain isn't fixed by short-term relief. It's fixed by addressing the full system that supports the spine: muscles, breath, posture, hydration, and nutrients. If your back hurts after standing in the kitchen or while washing dishes, that's not aging. That's an alignment failure caused by how you've been holding your body. When your weight shifts too far forward, your lumbar spine takes the brunt of the load, and the muscles that should be assisting, like your lower abdominals and glutes, are not activating. This leaves your spine to act alone, and it can't do that forever. The key to long-term recovery is not just stronger muscles, it's corrected movement, and that starts by rebuilding core stability from the ground up, not through crunches, not through sit-ups, but through smart, spine-protective engagement. Start simple. While lying on your back, bend your knees. Now tighten your lower stomach muscles, just enough to feel your back flatten slightly. Hold it. Breathe gently, then release. This is called abdominal bracing. It wakes up your deepest core layer, the transversus abdominis. This muscle wraps around your spine like a belt, and when it's strong, your spine has an internal guard, 24 hours a day. Do this drill twice a day for 30 seconds. It may feel boring, but this one activation prevents more back collapses than most therapies combined. Now let's discuss the pelvis. Your pelvis sits underneath your spine like a tray. If that tray tilts too far forward, your spine curves too much. If it tilts backward, your lower discs get crushed, and if it shifts from side to side, your back muscles strain unevenly. This pelvic imbalance causes your lower back to tighten on one side and weaken on the other. Over time, this makes your spine rotate subtly, creating repeated misalignment during movement. You don't need a chiropractor to fix this. You need to retrain your hip control. Try this. Sit upright. Place hands on your waist. Now rotate your pelvis forward and backward without moving your chest or upper body. You'll feel the movement in your lower back. This teaches your brain to control the pelvis, like a joystick. Repeat 10 times slowly, twice a day. This one exercise reconnects the foundation of your spine to its surrounding muscles. Now here's a mistake most elders make. They try to stretch tight back muscles without addressing the actual source, hip flexor tension. Sitting for hours shortens the hip flexors. When those muscles become tight, they pull the pelvis forward. This increases lumbar curve pressure, especially during walking. You might not feel it in your hip, but your back absorbs the change every single step. Fix this by stretching the hip flexors daily. Stand beside a table. Place one foot behind you. Bend the front knee slightly. Now push your hips gently forward, keeping your chest upright. You should feel a stretch at the top of your thigh, near your groin. Hold for 20 seconds. Switch sides. Another critical area is your feet. Yes, your feet are part of your back problem. If your arch has collapsed, if your shoes have no structure, if your gait is uneven, then every step sends uneven shock up the legs into the spine. This is called kinetic chain dysfunction, and it's the reason some people feel pain even while just walking calmly. Correct it by using shoes with a firm heel cup, arch support, non-flexible midsole, slight heel rise, and if you stand often in the kitchen or shower, use anti-fatigue mats. They reduce joint pressure instantly. These adjustments may seem minor, but when you multiply those steps by thousands per week, they become transformative. Now we address rotation. Every time you twist your body to grab something behind you, every time you turn your upper body while seated, if your core is inactive, your spine becomes the pivot point. And if this happens repeatedly, the spinal joints get irritated. Instead, use full body mechanics. If you need to grab something behind you, turn your feet, hips, and shoulders together. If you're lifting something, don't twist. Pivot with your whole body. And avoid this posture trap, standing and shifting weight onto one leg. It causes pelvic drop, spinal lean, and muscle imbalance. Instead, stand evenly. Keep your core engaged. Let both legs share the work. These habits eliminate micro damage that builds up silently and causes pain later. Let's move to the role of inflammation. Back pain doesn't always come from tissue damage. Sometimes it's from low-grade inflammation caused by diet, poor circulation, and sleep deficiency. If your back feels stiff in the morning, if it gets worse after meals, if it improves slightly after movement but returns by evening, you're dealing with systemic inflammation, and that must be handled internally. Avoid processed oils, canola, soybean, high-sugar snacks, white bread, pasta, excess table salt. Instead, eat fatty fish. Omega-3s reduce joint inflammation. Walnuts, flax seeds, leafy greens rich in vitamin K, ginger and turmeric, berries and grapes, natural antioxidants. These foods lower CRP, C-reactive protein, a blood marker linked to spinal inflammation. Let's address one last piece, the mind-body loop. Pain that keeps returning creates anticipation. You start avoiding movement. You start tightening up unconsciously. You fear certain positions, and over time your brain rewires to expect pain. This isn't imagination. It's called central sensitization. You must break this loop, and the way to start is with controlled exposure. If you fear bending, bend slowly every day while supported. If you avoid standing long, build up tolerance in 1-minute increments. If you tighten during sleep, try body scanning relaxation methods before bed. Don't avoid movement. Redesign it, rebuild it. Reprogram your nervous system to feel safe again. Because once your brain believes the spine is protected, your muscles relax, your tissue heals, and your pain doesn't just go away, it stays away. There's a common myth that walking alone can fix chronic back pain. It's not true. Walking can help, yes, but when the movement isn't managed with proper alignment, control, and load balance, it becomes another source of pressure. Each step you take sends shock through your feet, knees, hips, and spine. When the spine isn't supported properly by strong glutes, active core, and flexible hips, that shock becomes cumulative. And that's exactly how back pain survives in people who are otherwise active. So here's the correction. You don't stop walking. You start walking right. That means you engage the lower belly gently while walking. You step through the midfoot instead of slamming the heel. You avoid slouching forward or leaning your head out. You walk on forgiving surfaces like tracks, trails, or grass, not just sidewalks and tiles. The next component is spinal decompression. Many elders suffer daily from compressed discs simply because they spend too much time in vertical load, standing, walking, and sitting without counterbalance. That compression pushes disc fluid outward, and when done over months or years, it leads to disc thinning, nerve irritation, and repeated stiffness. You don't need machines to fix this. You need scheduled, supported unloading. Try these. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat, for 10 minutes in a dark room. Place a firm pillow under your calves so thighs are parallel to the ground. Let your lower back rest into the floor. This position reduces spinal compression by 25 to 40%, giving your body space to reset. You can also use wall-assisted decompression. Lie on the floor, place your legs straight up on the wall, hips close, hold for 5 minutes. This improves blood flow to the lower spine, drains tension from the hips, and resets muscle tone gently. Now to daily chair use. Most chairs, whether at the dining table, computer desk, or car, are not designed to preserve lumbar structure. They often sink, tilt backward, or pull the shoulders forward. You must create an active sitting environment. Use a lumbar roll. A rolled towel or dedicated lumbar support placed at the curve of your lower back. This prevents flattening of the lumbar spine, and it forces your abdominals to stay slightly engaged even while resting. Also, never sit more than 40 minutes without a posture reset. Even if you don't stand, simply pull your shoulders back, tuck your chin gently, rotate your pelvis forward and back slowly, then resettle into your supported position. These micro adjustments maintain joint health. If you work on a laptop, elevate it. Tilt the screen so your neck stays upright, because a head that leans forward by just 1 inch adds 10-12 extra pounds of pressure to your lower back. Yes, 10 pounds of extra work from your neck. Now let's bring in sleep again. Sleeping on your stomach places the lower back in extension, that is, your spine arches more than it should. This forces the spinal joints to compress, tightens the back muscles, and restricts diaphragm breathing. If you sleep this way, even for 30 minutes a night, it adds up better. Side sleeping with a pillow between knees. Back sleeping with a pillow under knees. Always on a firm mattress. Medium or medium firm support. Avoid stacking pillows too high behind the head. This strains the neck and mid-back. And please, no falling asleep in recliners. They pitch the hips too low, round the spine, and push your head forward. That kind of shape leads to locked muscles, poor recovery, and morning stiffness. Your recovery starts with your position, not your pillows. Now on the cellular level, what's keeping your back irritated? Low tissue recovery often links back to inflammation that never shuts off. You may be doing all the right things, walking, eating decently, stretching, but if your cells are inflamed from micronutrient deficiencies, nothing fully heals. So you must feed the spine what it's built from. Magnesium relaxes overactive nerves and muscles. Vitamin D3 regulates bone structure, reduces inflammation. Zinc, key for tissue regeneration. Omega-3s, lower joint friction. Collagen, rebuilds spinal discs and ligaments. B-complex vitamins, restore nerve function. You're not just eating to survive, you're eating to repair. And you must stay consistent. Even 1 week of bad meals can undo a month of healing progress. There's another crucial thing you can't ignore: nervous system tone. If your system stays in a fight state too long, high alert, fast breathing, clenched teeth, shallow sleep, then your muscles never switch off. That means your back muscles stay tight all night and all day, even if you think you're resting. This leads to waking up tired, feeling sore with no reason, and staying locked even after a massage. Here's how to reset the system. Slow breathing through the nose, gentle humming, exhaling with sound, listening to slow instrumental music in the evening, gentle palm pressure over eyes for 60 seconds, using warm light, not blue or white after 7 p.m. These things may feel simple, but they tell your nervous system it's okay to relax. And when your nervous system calms, your back muscles will follow. Now, tools. Sometimes you need consistent relief throughout the day, not just from stretches or walks. That's where I recommend a compact, drug-free palm-sized device designed to ease physical tension through targeted neuromuscular stimulation. It doesn't shock, it doesn't numb, it uses a low-frequency pulse to activate specific calming reflexes in your body without interfering with your movement or focus. Use it while sitting, reading, watching TV, or falling asleep. It's rechargeable. You hold it like a stone. It works in 90 seconds and resets tension gradually, not suddenly. Thousands of seniors use it to complement their stretching, hydration, and therapy. And the best part, no screens, no wires, no apps. It's the silent support your spine has been missing, especially when rest alone doesn't work. If your back pain comes back again and again, if therapy stops working after a few days, if you feel like your body resets, then collapses all over again, it means your nervous system, your muscles, and your joints need daily relief. This tool gives, and if I were to protect one area of my body for the next decade, it would be my spine, because when the back collapses, everything else follows.